Ooh, hello there, and welcome into the Morning Roast. Dave Fleming on the call for NBC Sports Bay Area, and you don't see the old 5-3-1 double play every day, and that happened in the first inning of last night's Giants-Phillies game, and in the moment I'm watching that, I'm like, a play like that, that's a good omen. If you turn a play like that in the first inning, that's the kind of play you turn in a game that ends in a W. Reality, unfortunately, does not play by the same rules that I play by. Giants lose 7-0. Shutout for the seventh time this year. 6 times this year. So we're not fully at the 6-7 yet. Good morning, Joe Shasky. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. You know, I'm watching these Giants yesterday, and I think Tony V probably stuck with Mahle an inning too long. At minimum, a couple of batters too long. So, you know, the guy's had a pretty good couple of weeks here regarding pulling the trigger or when to pull the trigger, when not to pull the trigger regarding his pitching staff. And I think yesterday's a game, that 6th inning, you just want back. Mahle was really good for
Absolutely.
5, and then he just didn't have the same stuff in the 6th inning.
No, he was really wild coming out in the 6th inning, Joe. I think he threw 12 pitches in that 6th inning, and I think only 2 of them were in the strike zone. One of them was a hit. One of them was a 3-0 strike to Kyle Schwarber there. And I agree with you. I mean, through 5 innings, he was dealing. He had 70 pitches. He looked as good as he had kind of in his last 2 starts. And remember, he had a great start against Philadelphia a couple weeks ago when the Phillies were in town here at Oracle Park. I do agree with you in hindsight. Yeah, they probably left him in too long. At the same time, though, I usually kind of, when I see a pitcher, you know, who's dealing well like Mahle is, I'll kind of give him the benefit of the doubt if he still has pitches left in the tank. At the same time, maybe Mahle isn't that kind of a pitcher. Maybe that's a luxury you extend to the Logan Webbs and the Robbie Rays. And honestly, I think Landon Root might have earned that right at this point. But yeah, in hindsight, Tony, I like that you did believe in Tyler. Kind of want that one back, though.
I mean, look, this is a guy that's gone basically into the 7th inning 1 time this year.
Yeah, and that was his last start.
Yeah, and so
it was a good one, though, against the Dodgers. I mean, that's
sure, but let's look at the track record this year. 4 innings pitched, 5 2/3. I mean, he came out in the 6th inning, 4 innings against the Reds. The outlier right now is that 7-inning performance against the Dodgers, which was a great one. I would have yanked him at the first sign of trouble in that 6th inning.
Yeah.
I could feel it coming, and I think Tony was going back and forth on it. It's what he wants back.
Yeah, I sign of trouble. Yeah, I probably would have had a reliever in the bullpen when that inning started, and he's just like, hey, man, you're pitching well, but, you know, to your point, Joe, he had the 7-inning start last time. I think that was like the 3rd or 4th time he's pitched in the 7th inning, like in the last 3 or 4 years, what he did against the Dodgers. And I think I said last week, you know, Tyler Mahle, you throw 4 starts out there. You'll have 1 that's pretty good, 2 that are like, 1 that's going to be an absolute disaster. And I think the Giants thought that they can get 2, you know, really good starts in a row out of him. And to his credit, he pitched great for 5 innings. And again, when he went back out there for the 6th, I wasn't against it. Unfortunately, I probably would have made that same move if I was Tony Vitello, letting him go back out there. And I, much like Tony Vitello last night, I'd be staring off into space being like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
After the Trey Turner single, I was thinking to myself, yeah, let's get a lefty in there to face Kyle Schwarber. That's what I was thinking. And then you walk Schwarber, and then Harper doubles, and 2 runs come in, and, you know, then he's facing Garcia, and Garcia hits the fly ball. So, I don't know. I would have went to a pitcher, you know, the minute that Trey Turner got on base and Schwarber came up, 3rd time through the lineup, first sign of trouble. That would have been my indicator. I understand, though, also it's game 1 of a pretty big road trip, and so you don't want to deplete your bullpen. But I also am like, stealing 1 on the road, or at least staying in 1 on the road in game 1 would be huge.
Well, especially against a team like the Philadelphia Phillies, who news broke during our show yesterday, Joe, that they fired their manager, Rob Thompson. Don Mattingly, the interim manager, filling in. And I do think that, I mean, this is a good Phillies team. I mean, they have been in the mix of the National League for the last couple years.
By record, no.
Well, yes, but we'll get to the record in just a moment. Like, overall, coming into this year, we expected a lot of big things from this Phillies team. There's a lot of talent in this lineup. Trey, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper as your top 3. Adolis Garcia is very good. Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, those are Brandon Marsh. Those are very, very good baseball players. Those are baseball players who expect to be in the mix in the National League this year. And, when you see a team like that get their manager fired, it's gonna light a fire under a team like that. And I think you saw that response from the Phillies. Rob Thompson, for all I've heard, was very popular in that clubhouse. And I can't imagine there's a lot of guys who are happy in that Philadelphia clubhouse that their poor play, they were 9-19 going into the game yesterday, worst record in baseball. I got to imagine there is a level of pissed offness that Phillies clubhouse had, and they took it out on the Giants. And, credit to Jesus Luzardo, had one of his best starts in forever.
They haven't had a pitcher, the Phillies, go 7 full innings.
Yeah. And so Philadelphia,
all year. That's kind of crazy.
They respond. I mean, Joe, ever since these teams last faced each other, I mean, the Giants, they've been playing really well since the Phillies last were here. But in that time since their last meeting, they're hitting .218 as a team. This was going into last night. A .370 slugging percentage. They were striking out 21% of the time. Their starting pitching ERA was .571. Their opponent batting average was like a .301. Like, they were not getting hits as a lineup, and they were giving up a ton of hits as a pitching rotation. And I think when you're in a situation like Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations for Philadelphia, you have a few tricks up your sleeve that you could play during a regular season to light a team up. You have to pick and choose your spots. He picked a big one yesterday in firing Rob Thompson to send a message to that Philadelphia team. What it kind of reminded me of a little bit, Joe, was last year when Buster picked up the option on Bob Melvin as a way to be like, hey, I believe in you guys, but it's time to go.
Yeah.
That's kind of not the exact same move, but...
No, it's a reverse move.
Yeah.
Believe version a lot of people were hoping for. Casey Schmidt has been amazing. I mean, his at-bats have been such high quality, and he's driving the ball, and he's doing it without playing in the field every single day, which I think is way more difficult than people give credit for. You've got someone like Drew Gilbert, who's made a lot of little contributions in the absence of Harrison Bader. Luis Ariz has been excellent overall.
Fresh air.
Yeah. Bailey's at-bats have gotten better in the last week. That's where I'll start. I'm not here to say he's tearing the cover off the ball, but I do believe the at-bat quality has been better, which was a low bar. Chapman's been pretty good this year. Adames started off really well. Now he's in a little rut. And Devers has just been so ice cold, I don't know what to make of him. And I'm thinking about this team, Sam, and I have tried so hard to wrap both arms around them, and I'm begging for them to turn the corner and go on a little run here and just do something. And I know it's early. It's very early. I'm not hitting panic buttons. I'm not raising red flags. I just don't know what you do with this team right now.
Well, the question I have, Joe, and this could be our first question of the morning here, 888-957-9570. Why can't this team get any momentum? It seems like so far early on in the year, they'll put together a couple good games, and you're feeling like, all right, this is the team I kind of expect. They won 2 of 3 in San Diego earlier this year. You start to think, all right, I like where this direction's going here. And then they fall flat on their face against the Mets. This was in the first week. And then you have a stretch where you play some pretty good baseball against the Nationals and Dodgers and Marlins. And now you're starting to feel really good. They won 6 out of 9. And 2 of those wins were against the Dodgers, obviously. And very, very exciting wins that they got there. And then they go into Philadelphia and they run into an absolute buzzsaw. And it just seems like this is a team that, stop me if this sounds familiar, they can't string together 3 or 4 wins in a row. And right now they're 3 games below 500, 13-16, 4th in the West. And Joe, I feel like I'm watching a lot of what I've watched the last couple of years, where I'm watching a team that's just constantly chasing 500 because they just can't string together enough momentum to go on a sustained run to not only get above 500. Because I do think there is just a mental difference when you have more wins than losses rather than more losses than wins. They can't sustain that momentum to get above water and then keep going beyond that. And that's just kind of the pattern we've seen the last few years where there's nothing consistent. And I don't know what the answer is to that one.
Well, I think it starts with the top dogs, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, people are going to take umbrage with what I'm going to say, and I don't mean this as disrespect. This is analysis to me.
Oh, no.
Not disrespect, okay? So, like, listen to what I'm going to say here. Willy Adames is a great guy. He's your second highest paid player on this team in terms of his overall contract value. He's a role player. That doesn't mean he's not an everyday player. He is an everyday player.
Yeah.
But he's not a star. You know, I think we've been looking up at the Dodgers, and for a second, push the Dodgers to the side. Let's just look at the Padres, which is a team that I think Giants fans are a little jealous of because of the star power. Manny is a Hall of Fame talent.
Yep.
Manny Machado.
I think he'll be in there someday, absolutely.
Fernando Tatis Jr. is a perennial all-star talent. I don't want to give him the Hall of Fame label because it's way too premature. You got to put together, you know, closer to a decade.
Well, yeah, 10 years is the requirement. I'll say this, a fun phrase on this show, Hall of Fame trajectory.
Nah, just perennial all-star is what I would say.
He's really, really good.
Yes. And so all the other guys in that lineup, whether it's Cronenworth or whomever you want to look at, Jackson Merrill, they're all role players based off those stars, right?
Yes.
Now, the star that you acquired last year is Raffy Devers.
Yep.
He is the 761st ranked fantasy baseball player. I'm going to say that again. This year, Raffy Devers in fantasy baseball. So forget all the raw numbers. He's got the same home runs as Jung-Hoo Lee, too.
I like this metric, though, by the way.
761st in ranking in fantasy baseball this year. That's like unfathomable. Just to give you an example, he's batting in the low 200s this year. He's got 2 home runs. A good DH, who's tearing the cover off the ball right now for the Houston Astros, is Yordan Alvarez. He's batting .355 with an OPS of almost 1.2. He has 11 home runs and 11 strikeouts. Do you even dare to want to know how many strikeouts Raffy Devers has?
My guess is it's more than 11.
Raffy has 37.
Yeah, that's
at the top of the team. Tied with who? Willy Adames. Now, let's get to our other.
And that's in 29 games.
Yes. Again, over a strikeout a game. He's batting a robust 211. Willy's batting a robust 202. Now, those are your 2 top dogs in terms of highest paid. And then your next highest paid guy is Matt Chapman. I think Chapman's having a pretty good year.
He's swinging the bat really well lately.
He's having a really good year.
Yeah.
Would you agree? He's a role player. He's not a star. And by role player, I don't mean you can't be a good everyday player. That doesn't mean you can't be an elite defensive player.
Role players are important.
Absolutely. Like Brandon Bell was a role player.
Brandon Crawford as well. And those are beloved
and had a few all-star seasons and some Gold Glove years. Exactly. I totally agree. But if your team is built around them in the lineup, you're going to not be a great team. Specifically when Devers is producing, again, as the 761st most potent fantasy baseball player right now. What
really concerns me about Willy Adames, Joe, and you make a great point, is that, you know, there's a couple weeks ago where it seemed like he was turning his swing around early on.
I agree.
And we're starting to think like, oh, well, maybe he doesn't have the pressure of the contract anymore. Maybe he is feeling looser this year.
That's what I thought.
Maybe he is turning it around. And again, it's still April. We've played about a month-ish worth of games. There is still time to turn it around. But at the same time, Joe, I'm sick and tired of coming back to that. I'm sick and tired of having to be like, well, look at the back of his baseball card. It says that he'll get better. And for all we know, he could. Like, Adames could literally start tearing the ball off the cover on this road trip here. He's in a good ballpark in Philly to do that. He's going to his old home at the Trop this weekend. It's very possible he can turn things around here. And we can move forward from there. But I agree with you, though, Joe. I don't think Willy Adames is a guy as good of a baseball player as he is. If he's your second best baseball player,
your team's not good enough.
I think he's a guy, like last year, I think is a perfect example of this. Willie was probably, for better or worse, probably considered the best bat in the lineup last year at the start of the season. Okay. And we all agreed, I don't think that really works out. Why did we like the Raffy Devers trade so much in the moment? For a multitude of reasons. Ooh, big bat, hit ball, go far. I think another reason was it pushed Willy Adames out of the role of you need to be the dude in this lineup that I don't think that he was comfortable being in. I think if Willy Adames is your third or fourth best hitter in the lineup, then I think you're singing a pretty song at that point. Unfortunately, the Giants lineup isn't deep enough to push him into that role. And what you have now is a lineup that is good enough to keep you basically right around 500.
Sam, Willy, Devers, Chapman's been okay. And then I get to Logan Webb.
Today's starting pitcher.
Logan Webb has not been good enough. Now,
No.
we could argue about how close he is to being able to turn the corner, but there has been something a little off with Logan Webb. I'm not here to say that it's the end of his career or anything like that, but he has been trending in kind of a downward trajectory since the All-Star break of last year.
You want to know what his ERA is since the All-Star break of last year is?
Give it to me.
4.03.
4.03. I mean,
And I think Logan would be the first to tell you that, he'll use a word that I can't use on air, but he would say that he's been pitching poopy since that time.
Do you know what opponents were batting after the All-Star break against him just last year?
I can.
I've got it.
Okay, tell me.
285.
Oh, that's poopy right there.
Okay. Do you know what opponents are batting against him right now? 262. Right. So you're looking at, since that All-Star break, you've got every player in baseball against Logan Webb batting higher than the league average by 20 points.
Yeah.
25 points.
And that's just not good enough to get it done.
Well, if he's going to be your top dog, he's got to pitch like it. And look, you can have a couple of bad starts, but at some point, if Adames, Devers, and Logan Webb don't pick it up, this team and this core is going to get punted on.
You know what Landon Roop is holding hitters to since the All-Star break? 192 batting average.
Well, he's been amazing.
He has been.
He's been amazing. There are bright spots.
The ERA in that time, 394, but again, probably could be better, but Landon Roop looks like a guy who's trending upwards. Logan Webb, I don't know.
Well, this is a big start for him.
Yeah, it is a big start for him. We'll pick this conversation up on the other side. Plus, what do you hear? What do you say? We're going to talk about that double play on the other side. We are coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios. Laughing Monk, righteously brewed here in San Francisco. And don't forget, the Morning Roast is presented by the San Francisco Fire Credit Union, banking for heroes and anyone who wants to be treated like one. What do you hear? What do you say on the other side? Plus, big start for Logan Webb. We'll be talking about that. 888-957-9570 is the number to call. Giants fans, how are we feeling about this team right now? Why can't this team get any momentum? I have a thought. We'll get to it as well. What's coming up? The game is brought to you by Crystal Geyser, Alpine Spring Water.